The School of Architecture started when I came back to Iraq. At the time, the American embassy had, in 47, during the kingdom, had a cultural center with encouraging Iraqi American graduates to join, and they had a club for Iraqi American graduates to get together in that place. So I visited these people, and so many friends from high school, from other places in the U.S. where we met, and it used to be mainly a discussion on how they will share in building Iraq. Each has his own point of view. People wanted in each department to, in the irrigation, they have different point of view. We, as far as that's concerned, it was surprised that there was no college or any department of architecture. So with some friend we started talking about it. But we weren't, previous to that, no people has attempted, although they said there was an attempt, I really wasn't aware of. The previous dean, before I came, was very well known American graduate, Dr. Mehdi Hantouche. Mehdi Hantouche became a great scientist for underwater in the States. He was a big reference. I mean, after a few years being a dean in Iraq. And I know him personally, and no one has asked him, he would be welcome the idea of getting a school. So, but the new dean was a Utah graduate, PhD. He called me and he said, Mr. Munir, would you join me in my office tomorrow to establish the School of Architecture? I was head of the technical section. It was in a building extension near an old Ottoman built called Sarai. And that's where the government office, all the government offices were. So all they did is an extension for our place. Anyway, so I went to see to his office, and that was the first time I met Abdullah San, who was Liverpool and Harvard, and Makiya, who's Liverpool and some college. And they both graduated earlier. Abdullah San was teaching in the department, civil engineer. He was teaching in the civil engineer about relation of architecture with civil engineer. Makiya was a freelancer, has no, I had teaching background. So we were assigned as each has for government status, have titles. University has titles and government has titles. Makiya was, being the oldest, he was the head. I became the academic secretary. And I had with me all syllabus of Texas, USC, and I even had my reference. I had a big box shipped with me. I didn't know what Iraq has, so I brought whatever references I had at the time. So I used all of this to establish the program. But it was very hard at first because the scene in the country has no knowledge of architectural education. And the people accepted in architecture and medicine and pharmacy and dentistry, they're all a graduate of high school technical. The high school were technical, and the other one was human cultural. So these people can get to any school according to their level of degrees. So the people came to our department. It was a big challenge because they had no background, no knowledge of it. So we had to start teaching them basic things about composition, about abstract, about line, point, for space, forms to reach 3 dimension. And that was really a hard thing to get across. How to get the student sort of tie the color, intensity with the feeling, with how to get space division in the composition. He learned that 2 times 2 is 4, and there's no other way. So slowly we were able to show them that after giving them, say, design line and point and or with color, we made a display. And the jury sort of criticized the display, show them that so many solutions, and that this is what's good, this is good, this need a little bit. So they begin to understand that there's more than one solution. The first was very hard for these people to accept. So I went to the dean and I said, look, these people are going to suffer. Some don't like this. They want to change. Could you allow them after a first semester to change, to go to other departments without losing the credit? And he understood why. And that really, the big number ended up with about 22. And of course there were girls and boys, but the girls were less. But later on, the girls became more than the boys. Anyway, this experience went from, like I said, from point to line to coordination, color, intensities, height, dimension, three-dimension spaces, color, and all of this composition ended the year and with a display. So the next year was easier because they can go back to this people area, they help them, and they know there is something different. So people and their families enjoy. We used to have an open house at the end for the people and their family to come. So that was, and then we assigned work to bring it to fact that each has to make measurement of their living room, depth, height, color, and all of that, to bring it after the holiday, in the spring. It was a short visit, but that was a very slow. Then I was going with design every stage. Now that the students have learned basic things, so second year was more tailored with actual space design and the relationship And separately, we started the supporting field like construction and structural. Now, I had in my office an architect engineer. So, being an architect engineer, he was working in my office. He worked on this 14-story building. So he knows about architecture, but he knows a lot about construction and structure. So it was a good element I brought in to teach. As an outsider, he comes and teaches that class. The same thing, my first colleague in Texas was very knowledgeable of construction, so he was also added to the department. And I had a fellow called, his name is Duray, I think he has a PhD now. He's from England. I don't really know the school, but later on got his master. He was in my office working. I also assigned him, we need staff. Each year we added staff. A fellow also was working in my office. His name is Tajuddin. He's from Maryland. He's got his master from Maryland. And he also brought in as a teaching member. And these people had after they left my office, they had their own offices, but they continued. But I say they were originally from me. I also had, when we got to the urban planning in the fourth year, I tailor the project in the ways that I think when the student mind is able to tackle the integrity of each part properly. So the size of the project, the quality of the project, from strict functional to creative ideas, each one has to be tailored. Now, this was quite an interesting, of course, until we get in the fourth year, we started some urban work. We took sections of the city and told them what are the basic principles, how to survey, how to find out ownership, quality of building, social status, and all of this related to the building itself, how it was standing. Well, it was interesting, but it was only giving them ideas. I mean, they have to go deeper, but at least they became aware that architecture as a unit is not independent of the surrounding. And in the first year, we asked them to select project before the holiday. They go in the summer to think about it, and they bring in many ideas, and we help them select. And then they start developing it. We used to come and visit the student in the class and see how they work, in a stimulant, and like I learned in Texas, I tried to emphasize this. I don't know what others did. I'd say, but before you talk, show me what you do. So they start drawing. I force them to draw and show. Now, we had some problems, of course. Some students, the work requires a lot of expenses. These people, although the government is free, I mean, they go to school, there's no fees, it's a public paid by the government. And also they give some aid, but buying paper, some people really couldn't afford it. And they came to us and said, look, I cannot produce only this kind of paper. We accept, we had to accept things until things slowly improved. But really, there was also cultural influences of their background. And we have people from rural areas, from the north, from Kurdish, south, east, west, from all over Iraq, because all of them, there was no university, only this university, and later on Mosul University started, and then Basra. This then became Iraq at the time 3 universities. The people that started their thesis, we have to discuss the nature of the project, what are the surroundings, who needs them, how can they solve a problem to this society, or things like that, just to give them an idea that they have to solve a problem that is needed. In 76, I came to the States and spent a whole summer. I came back and introduced computer and architecture for the first time in the department. I wasn't able to teach it, but we had a fellow, a British graduate, an Iraqi, very, very intelligent. His name was Dr. Muthanna Kubba. He accepted to teach it. We had the first conflict with the government when they decided that you should be a full-time member and no more private work. So Muthanna Kubba and myself, we had offices. I had big number of people living on my effort, and I had project on the work. I refused.
What was the first year of the school?
Of the school?
Of architecture?
Yeah, the school started in 59, and the first group graduated in 64. So that's what I said. The building, endowment of Qaf building, was close to school, but it was being constructed during the first group of students. That was a good example.
Did you speak with Gropius ever about the School of Architecture?
No, only mentioning it to him that we were establishing, and he said, that's great. He sort of recommended the idea, but I don't recall contributing. The only thing is encouraging that this is a great thing that you have to have your own people design your own people, more aware of the situation, more conscious of it, and hopefully that they be more up to date. But he would also mention preserving the traditional part, which we were emphasizing anyway. But in my opinion, the traditional is to be preserved and developed, reused as is, and not build new at the same time. I think that is absolutely wrong. You should preserve the area, improve it, make use of it. In fact, there was a program of about 1,000 number to be preserved, but with the changes in politics, they ended up with very few number.
Did the school move to the new campus?
You know, Gropius died early, and so he really didn't see how things did. Now that brings a good point. The concept was, which was very convincing, a common teaching area was sort of centralized, where students from all sections can go to any class in the core. And then as you go out, you get the specialized. And you get, for instance, engineering, and the staff, humanities and staff. So that was the idea of the concept of the University of Baghdad. And I think it was an ambitious way of seeing people. It means that you have to have a staff and administration to have been trained to how to work on this, especially in sort of coordinating these programs, whereby a student from art, student from technical, a student from civil, they can all use basic educational teaching in the core, and they don't immediately belong in that area, beyond that. And then as they get more advanced, they sort of more or less start belonging to what their ambition was. And that's where these became more specialized spaces and used. They are not frequently used. While the center was used by various staff, by various departments. So that needs really a flexible thinking and proper program. The university, there was a period where they added girls' college. And the later stage was the athletic complex. Something I'd like to mention to you. One day, one of the people that was, I think I mentioned this when Belgium was working for the department, and he was sort of, there are two people, he and an Iraqi called Hazm Tech, graduate of Berkeley, and very highly qualified. I convinced him to come back to join our school, and he really joined our school. The Dutch, after he'd been so much in contact with the project, so when he retired, he went and worked for the TAC, and he was one of the elements working on the athletics. Here's an interesting story. One day, I was surprised to see him coming to Iraq and come knock on my office, and we welcomed him. He said, "I carry an important message for you, Mr. Munir." I said, "Yes, I'm ready." And he said, "TAC would like you to change the name of your office to TAC Baghdad." And I said, that was a very, very rewarding concept, but I'd like to keep my own office. So that was really a surprise, but it was really great award being told to be part of that.